The galaxy had lived in quiet peace for centuries. Alien civilizations, each with their own stars and worlds, had learned to share knowledge, trade, and sometimes fight, but mostly they had learned to avoid unnecessary conflict. That peace, however, was about to change. From a distant, uncharted region near Orion's belt, a fleet of human ships appeared. They were smaller and simpler than most alien ships, but there were many of them. Each ship moved with precision, following formations that were unusual to alien eyes. They were fast, adaptable, and, above all, fearless. The humans were led by a young commander named Nilo. He was not the tallest or the strongest, but he carried an air of calm authority. His eyes scanned the galaxy through the large viewport of his flagship. The stars stretched endlessly ahead, but the most important part of his view was the council of alien leaders who were waiting for him. This was their first time seeing humans in their space, and their reactions were exactly as Nilo had expected: shock and suspicion. The alien council was a mix of species from across the galaxy. Some floated, some walked on many legs, and some shimmered in colors that humans could not name. They watched silently as the human fleet approached. Whispers traveled through the council chamber, even though most species communicated in ways humans could not hear. When Nilo's ship docked at the station, he stepped forward with a measured, confident pace. He carried no weapon in hand, but his presence alone seemed to command attention. "I am Commander Nilo," he said in a clear voice. "We come from a distant system. We wish to meet with your council to establish contact." An alien elder, large and glowing with soft light, spoke first. "Why do you appear in our space with weapons ready? Why do you approach with such numbers?" Nilo paused before answering, choosing his words carefully. "We come with respect. Our numbers are not meant to threaten. But we are prepared to defend ourselves if necessary. We mean no harm unless harm is given." The council murmured among themselves. No human had ever appeared in this sector before. Their small size and simple technology had been underestimated, yet here they were, confident and organized. Nilo knew that humans had always been underestimated. On Earth, they had survived countless challenges, from storms to wild animals to disputes among themselves. That resilience was now on display among the stars. As the council continued to question him, Nilo asked to demonstrate human abilities in diplomacy and strategy. He suggested they observe a negotiation between two alien trade factions that had been arguing for months. The humans were not invited to intervene, but Nilo insisted. Within minutes, humans analyzed the problem, spoke to both sides with patience and clarity, and offered solutions that balanced fairness and efficiency. The council watched in stunned silence. The arguments that had taken months were solved in an afternoon. Some leaders whispered that humans were too clever for their own good, while others worried they might be dangerous. But one thing was clear: humans were different, and different could not be ignored. After the demonstration, Nilo returned to his ship. He spoke quietly to his officers. "We have made a first impression," he said. "Some will fear us. Some will respect us. Both reactions are useful. But we must show that humanity's strength is more than numbers or weapons. It is our creativity, our courage, and our will to act when others hesitate." Outside the council chamber, the galaxy itself seemed to shift. Alien ships that had patrolled the sector lazily now moved with more awareness. Traders and diplomats sent messages to the council, asking about these new humans. Even distant species, who had never interacted with the council directly, began preparing for the possibility of meeting humans. Nilo walked along the deck of his flagship, watching stars drift past. His crew moved efficiently around him, adjusting equipment, running checks, and communicating quietly. Each human was aware of the larger mission. They were not here to conquer, not here to dominate. They were here to survive, to prove that humanity had a place in the galaxy, and to show that they could contribute to a larger order of intelligent life. In that quiet moment, Nilo allowed himself a small thought: the galaxy had expected humans to be weak, simple, and predictable. Now, the galaxy would have to think again. And humans were ready for the challenge. The first contact was only the beginning. The galaxy would soon learn that humanity's arrival was more than an anomaly. It was a statement. Humanity had arrived and they had come to stay. The council chamber was unlike anything Nilo had ever seen. It was massive, floating in orbit above a bright, green planet. Beams of colored light stretched across the walls, shifting as the council members moved. Each alien species carried a presence that seemed both strange and powerful. Some shimmered like living jewels, others towered with multiple limbs, and some floated silently, their forms almost transparent. All eyes turned toward Nilo and his human crew as they entered. Nilo remained calm. He knew the moment of first contact would be difficult. Alien civilizations had lived in their own hierarchies for centuries, and they had little understanding of humanity. Some feared humans would be violent, others dismissed them as primitive. He understood that perception was key. The way humans presented themselves would determine if the galaxy would accept them or see them as a threat. An elder alien named Theric rose from the council and spoke in a voice that seemed to vibrate through the chamber. "Humans," he said slowly, "you have entered our territory with ships and weapons. Why do you come without invitation?" Nilo stepped forward. His voice was calm and clear. "We mean no harm. Our fleet is prepared for defense, but we seek understanding, friendship, and cooperation. We have traveled far to meet you, not to fight. We wish to learn and to share what we know." The council remained silent for a long moment. Then another alien, Vera, floated forward, her body glowing with a soft blue light. "Your words are smooth," she said, "but your ships carry weapons. Can we trust you to act as you say?" Nilo nodded. "Trust is earned, not given. Let us show our intentions. Let us demonstrate that humans act with reason and care." He turned to his crew and spoke quietly. "We will offer to mediate a dispute between two alien trade factions. If we succeed, it will show the council our values." The humans moved quickly and efficiently. They accessed communications from the two factions, analyzing messages and requests. Within minutes, they understood the problem: a disagreement over supply routes and resource distribution that had lasted for months. Humans spoke with both sides, asking questions, listening carefully, and offering fair compromises. The aliens watched in awe. What had taken months of argument and negotiation was resolved in hours by humans who had no prior knowledge of their systems. Some council members whispered to each other, impressed and concerned. The humans had not used force, nor had they manipulated anyone. They had relied on clarity, patience, and insight. Theric's voice broke the silence. "This is unusual," he said. "Your species seems capable of understanding more than we expected. You are clever beyond your appearance." Nilo bowed slightly. "Thank you. Humanity has always relied on observation, learning, and cooperation. We survive because we adapt and think creatively. This is how we wish to act in the galaxy." Despite Nilo's calm words, tension lingered. Some council members were still wary. They could not ignore the humans' potential. If humans were clever, adaptable, and fearless, they could change the balance of power across the galaxy. Vera asked another question. "Your species is small compared to others. How can you hope to protect yourselves if threatened?" Nilo smiled gently. "We are small, yes, but we are united. We work together. We learn quickly, and we use what we have wisely. Strength is not only in size or numbers. Strength comes from cooperation, courage, and intelligence." As the council debated among themselves, Nilo returned to his ship to observe the galaxy. Messages arrived from other alien species who had heard of humans entering the system. Some were curious, some cautious, and some openly fearful. Nilo knew this was only the beginning. Humans had made an impression, but now they had to prove that they were more than a fleeting anomaly. Back in the council chamber, the debate grew louder. Some leaders argued that humans could be dangerous, unpredictable, or even a threat to the delicate balance of power. Others argued that humans could become allies, mediators, and innovators in a galaxy that had grown stagnant. Nilo prepared for the next step. Humans would need to demonstrate not only intelligence and diplomacy but also courage and resilience. The galaxy respected strength, but it also respected those who could act with wisdom and fairness. As he watched the stars drift past from the deck of his flagship, Nilo thought about humanity's place in this vast universe. Humans had survived countless challenges on their home planet. They had overcome natural disasters, conflicts, and scarcity. If they could adapt to life on Earth, they could adapt to life among the stars. The humans waited calmly for the Council's decision. Some aliens still doubted, but others were beginning to see the truth. Humans were not simple, nor weak. They were resourceful, courageous, and capable of change. Nilo knew the real challenge was coming. The galaxy had noticed humanity, and not all eyes were friendly. But the humans were ready. They would show the Council, and the galaxy, that their presence was not a threat, but a promise. A promise that humans could contribute, protect, and lead when necessary. The first contact had passed, but the tensions were only beginning. How humans handled the next moments would shape their future in the galaxy. And Nilo was determined that humanity would be remembered not as intruders, but as equals. The calm of the galaxy was broken one morning by urgent messages. A remote neutral planet, home to multiple trade colonies, had been attacked by a rogue alien faction. These aliens were aggressive, seeking to control resources without regard for law or life. Most civilizations hesitated to respond. They feared the cost of war and preferred to watch from a distance. Nilo and his human crew received the reports aboard their flagship. The situation was serious, but hesitation was not an option. "We cannot allow innocent lives to be destroyed while others debate," Nilo said firmly. "We will act, even if we stand alone." The humans prepared their fleet quickly. Ships were checked, weapons calibrated, and communication channels opened. Every crew member knew their role. Humans were small in number compared to the rogue fleet, but they relied on strategy, speed, and intelligence. As they approached the planet, the first signs of battle appeared. Smoke rose from cities under attack, and smaller ships darted between larger vessels. The rogue fleet was organized but predictable. Nilo studied their patterns carefully. "We will not match their numbers," he explained to his officers. "We will outthink them. We will create opportunities where they see none." The humans moved with precision. They split into groups, some defending the planet's surface, others engaging enemy ships in space. Using clever tactics, they led the rogue fleet into traps and ambushes. Humans used their smaller size to their advantage, moving quickly in ways the larger ships could not. For the first time, many aliens observing the conflict realized something unusual. Humans did not rely on raw power alone. They adapted, analyzed, and acted decisively. While larger fleets were confused and slow, humans exploited every weakness with careful planning. On the surface, human teams worked with local inhabitants to protect civilians and restore order. They coordinated evacuations, repaired damaged structures, and offered medical aid. Their presence brought hope where fear had reigned. Nilo communicated with his crew constantly. "We cannot destroy everything," he reminded them. "Our goal is to protect, to preserve, and to show that humans fight with honor, not cruelty." The rogue aliens became frustrated. They expected humans to panic or retreat, but humans responded with calm and confidence. Using unexpected maneuvers, the human fleet created diversions, forcing the rogue ships into disadvantageous positions. One by one, enemy vessels were disabled or captured without unnecessary destruction. Back at the council, Alien leaders watched in amazement. Messages from their scouts described the humans' actions. They were not only defending the planet, they were turning the battle into a demonstration of skill and courage. Some leaders began to whisper among themselves. Could humans be more than a minor species? Could they actually be a force that changes the galaxy's balance? After hours of battle, the rogue fleet began to retreat. They were not destroyed entirely, but they were forced to abandon the planet. Humans had protected the civilians and preserved the planet's infrastructure. The first challenge had been met, and humans had not only survived, they had succeeded. Nilo returned to the planet to assess the situation. He met with local leaders, listened to their concerns, and coordinated repairs. Civilians expressed gratitude, not just for their survival, but for the humans' fairness and care. Nilo reminded them, "We are not here to rule. We are here to help." Strength means little without responsibility. The victory spread quickly through the galaxy. Alien species that had doubted humans began to reconsider. News of humans acting with intelligence, strategy, and honor traveled faster than any weapon. Even those who had feared them now studied their tactics with curiosity and respect. Nilo understood the importance of this moment. Humans had shown the galaxy that they were capable of more than survival. They could lead, protect, and inspire. Their success was not measured only in ships or victories, but in the lives they saved and the trust they earned. As his fleet departed from the planet, Nilo addressed his crew. "This is only the beginning. The galaxy will challenge us again. But today we have shown what humans can do when we act with courage and intelligence. Remember, it is not power alone that earns respect. It is honor, creativity, and the willingness to protect others." The first challenge had tested humans in ways they had never experienced before. Yet they had emerged stronger, proving to themselves and the galaxy that humanity was not a species to be ignored. From this moment forward, humans were no longer unknown travelers. They were a presence to be acknowledged, respected, and, in some cases, admired. Even as the stars passed by their ships, Nilo knew that the battles ahead would be even harder. But humanity had proven one thing: when faced with impossible odds, they would not retreat. They would adapt, fight, and protect. And the galaxy would begin to understand that humans were more than just newcomers, they were a force for change. The victory on the neutral planet had brought respect to humanity, but it had also drawn attention from less friendly forces. Not all alien civilizations were pleased with humans' growing reputation. Rumors spread quickly. Some whispered that humans had secret weapons capable of destroying fleets. Others said humans were unpredictable and dangerous. Nilo knew this was part of entering the galaxy. With every success came scrutiny. He had expected curiosity, admiration, and fear. What he had not expected was the subtle threat of espionage. Alien spies had begun appearing near human ships, disguised in ways that made them almost invisible. Some tried to infiltrate communication systems, while others attempted to gather intelligence by sneaking aboard smaller human vessels. The humans responded carefully. Nilo instructed his crew to be alert but to act with calm and fairness. "We will not respond with aggression," he told them. "We will observe, learn, and act wisely. Some will test us. It is our job to show that humans can respond with skill and honor." One spy, disguised as a maintenance worker, was discovered by a young human officer named Mara. Mara noticed small inconsistencies in the aliens' movements and quickly reported them to Nilo. Instead of punishment, Nilo ordered a careful interrogation. The alien revealed that their mission was not to steal technology, but to provoke humans into rash action that could harm their reputation. This discovery confirmed Nilo's suspicion: the rogue faction from the last battle was attempting to manipulate the Galactic Council against humans. They hoped to paint humans as dangerous conquerors rather than protectors. Nilo knew that diplomacy alone would not be enough. Humans had to act decisively to reveal the truth. Nilo gathered his officers in the strategy room. We have to expose their plot, he said. But we will do it without violence unless absolutely necessary. Our goal is to show the Council and the galaxy that humans act with fairness, not fear or aggression. Using the information from the captured spy, humans carefully traced communications, intercepted secret messages, and collected evidence of the rogue faction's plans. It was delicate work, requiring patience and intelligence. They studied patterns, decoded hidden signals, and pieced together the true intentions of the faction. Meanwhile, Nilo continued diplomatic efforts with other alien civilizations. Humans offered aid, repaired damaged ships, and shared knowledge of advanced navigation systems. Many aliens were surprised by the generosity of humans who had just defended a planet and could easily have demanded rewards. Instead, humans acted with humility and integrity. The plan to expose the rogue faction unfolded during a council meeting. Nilo presented evidence clearly and calmly. He explained the intercepted messages, demonstrated inconsistencies in the rogue faction's reports, and highlighted their attempts to create distrust among the leaders. The council members listened carefully. Some aliens had been skeptical of humans, but the proof was undeniable. The rogue faction could no longer hide their intentions. Their plans to manipulate and destabilize the galaxy were revealed, and their credibility was damaged. Even more surprising to the council was the manner in which humans conducted the exposure. Nilo did not attack or humiliate the rogue aliens. Instead, he presented facts, allowed the faction to respond, and then let the evidence speak for itself. This approach impressed many council members. Humans were not only clever, but they were fair. After the council meeting, several previously skeptical leaders approached Nilo. They admitted that humans were unlike any species they had encountered. Humans could act quickly, think strategically, and handle difficult situations without losing control. Some even suggested forming alliances with humans to strengthen their own systems. Nilo understood the significance of this moment. Humanity's reputation had grown stronger, not through force, but through intelligence, honesty, and ethical action. The galaxy was beginning to see that humans were not only capable of surviving among advanced civilizations, but also of contributing positively to the order of the stars. As Nilo returned to his flagship, he addressed his crew. "Our actions define us more than our strength," he said. "We have proven that humans can be trusted. We have shown that we fight with purpose, act with intelligence, and lead with honor. The galaxy is watching, and it is learning that humanity is a species to respect, not fear." The rogue faction was weakened, but not gone. Nilo knew they would attempt more schemes in the future. Humans had to remain vigilant, combining courage with wisdom. They had survived their first test of intrigue, and now they had earned allies and respect. Above all, Nilo understood that this challenge had taught the crew something crucial. Strength alone would not protect them in the galaxy. Success would come from clever thinking, cooperation, and fairness. Humanity had shown the galaxy that they could face threats calmly, solve problems creatively, and earn trust without resorting to unnecessary force. The spies and intrigues were only the beginning. As humans looked out at the endless stars, they knew that the next challenge would test their skills, courage, and leadership even further. But they were ready. Humanity had entered the galaxy with a purpose, and nothing would stop them from fulfilling it. The galaxy had never seen a gathering like this before. Representatives from hundreds of civilizations assembled on the massive space station orbiting a dying star. It was called Arinder Station, and its corridors and chambers stretched for miles. Alien beings of every shape, size, and color moved through the halls, speaking in languages that shifted like music. Humans, led by Commander Nilo, arrived with calm confidence. Their ships were smaller than many of the alien vessels, but they moved with precision, landing without fanfare. Nilo knew that the summit would be more than a discussion, it would be a test of humanity's diplomacy, intelligence, and patience. Inside the Grand Council chamber, the debate began immediately. Alien leaders argued loudly. Some accused humans of being reckless intruders, others praised them for defending planets and exposing the rogue faction. The noise and disagreement were almost overwhelming, but Nilo and his team observed silently, listening carefully to understand each point of view. After the first hour of shouting and accusations, Nilo stepped forward. "Leaders of the galaxy," he said calmly, "we understand your concerns. Humanity is new to this part of the galaxy, but our goal is simple. We do not seek conquest or domination. We seek cooperation, safety, and the chance to contribute to your order. We act with reason and fairness, not force." Some aliens frowned. Others whispered among themselves. Humans had a way of speaking that was direct and clear. They did not exaggerate, nor did they threaten. Their words were simple but carried meaning. Many leaders realized that this was something they had rarely seen: honesty and clarity in a species unfamiliar with interstellar politics. Nilo continued, offering to mediate a long-standing dispute between two rival factions. The factions had argued over trade routes, resources, and borders for decades. Previous attempts at negotiation had failed, often leading to tension and minor conflicts. Humans had no previous allegiance to either side, which gave them a unique position to propose solutions. Mara, a human officer, displayed holographic maps showing trade routes, resource locations, and possible compromises. The humans suggested adjustments that would allow both factions to gain fairly without losing territory or resources. They proposed a monitoring system that would track trades and prevent misunderstandings. At first, the alien leaders resisted. "This is impossible," one said, shaking multiple arms. "We cannot trust a human species with our conflicts." Nilo smiled slightly. "Trust is built through action. Let us demonstrate that humans act with fairness and intelligence. Observe the system we propose. See that it respects all parties involved and provides transparency. We do not impose, we assist." The discussion continued for hours. Some aliens were stubborn, refusing to accept human solutions. But gradually, the logic and simplicity of the proposals became clear. Disagreements were reduced, tension lessened, and factions began to nod at each other, understanding that compromise was possible. By the end of the summit day, a new agreement had been reached. The rival factions had accepted the human-mediated solution, and the Council recognized the achievement. For the first time, many alien leaders realized that humans were not only capable of defending themselves but could also contribute positively to the governance and stability of the galaxy. Outside the chamber, smaller groups of leaders approached Nilo. They asked questions, seeking advice on disputes and trade negotiations. Some offered tentative alliances. Others admitted quietly that they had underestimated humans. Nilo listened politely and responded with humility. He did not boast, nor did he claim power. His goal was clear: build trust and prove humanity's worth. Back on his ship later that day, Nilo spoke to his crew. "This summit has shown the galaxy that humans can mediate, plan, and act with fairness. We have gained allies, respect, and understanding. But remember, this is only the beginning. Not all civilizations will be as willing to listen, and not all conflicts will be solved without challenge." The crew nodded. They understood that the summit was more than a meeting, it was a statement. Humans were no longer unknown visitors in the galaxy. They were participants, mediators, and problem solvers. Their actions had inspired some, challenged others, and gained attention from even the most distant systems. Nilo gazed out of the viewport at the dying star below. Its light was fading, yet it still shone brilliantly. In many ways, it reminded him of humanity, small, resilient, and capable of shining brightly even in the vastness of space. The Galactic Summit had tested humans in diplomacy, intelligence, and patience. They had passed. The galaxy had begun to accept that humans could act with courage, fairness, and wisdom. But Nilo knew that greater challenges awaited. The rogue faction that had attacked the neutral planet still existed, and other threats were emerging beyond the known sectors. Humans would need to be ready not only to negotiate, but also to defend, strategize, and lead. As the humans prepared to leave Orinder Station, Nilo addressed his crew one last time. "We have shown the galaxy who we are. Now we must be ready for what comes next. Strength is important, but wisdom, fairness, and courage will carry us further than weapons alone. Humanity has made its mark, and we will continue to shape the stars with honor." The humans departed the station quietly, leaving behind a galaxy that had begun to see them not as strangers, but as a species capable of leadership, problem-solving, and inspiration. The Galactic Summit had ended, but the true journey of humanity among the stars was only beginning. Peace in the galaxy was fragile. The success of humans at the summit had impressed many, but it had also angered others. The rogue faction, humiliated by their failed schemes, refused to accept defeat. They began gathering fleets from distant systems, preparing for a large-scale attack. Their goal was clear: destroy the humans and regain control over the galaxy. Commander Nilo received intelligence reports aboard his flagship. The information showed enemy fleets amassing near several key trade routes. It was a warning that war was coming. Nilo studied the reports with careful attention. "We have prepared for this possibility," he said to his officers. "The rogue faction believes they can intimidate us. They are wrong. We will not fight for power. We will fight to protect the galaxy." The human fleet moved quickly. Ships were upgraded, defenses reinforced, and strategies practiced. Every crew member trained relentlessly, preparing for maneuvers that tested speed, precision, and teamwork. Humans had fewer numbers than the enemy, but they had intelligence, creativity, and courage. Nilo knew these qualities could turn the tide of any battle. Allies from other civilizations joined humans as well. Many had been impressed by human diplomacy and their previous victories. Some provided additional ships, supplies, and tactical advice. Together, they formed a coalition ready to defend key systems. Nilo coordinated carefully, making sure each ally understood their role and could communicate effectively. As the first enemy scouts appeared near a critical system, humans were ready. Nilo and his officers analyzed the enemy formations, predicting their moves. "They rely on numbers and speed," Nilo explained. "We will rely on strategy and flexibility. Watch their patterns and find their weaknesses. Strike where they do not expect." The battle began with small skirmishes. Rogue ships attacked supply lines, attempting to create panic. Human fleets responded with clever diversions and traps. Smaller ships moved quickly, drawing enemy forces into zones where they could be isolated and neutralized. Humans used their knowledge of the terrain, including asteroid fields and gravitational anomalies, to their advantage. For many alien allies watching the battle, it was astonishing. Humans did not panic or retreat. They did not fight recklessly. Every move was calculated, every action purposeful. The rogue faction expected chaos, but they found precision, adaptability, and courage. On the surface of one threatened planet, human teams worked tirelessly to protect civilians. Evacuations were organized, defenses strengthened, and local populations reassured. Mara and her team coordinated supply drops and repairs while communicating constantly with Nilo. Their goal was not only to fight the enemy but to minimize harm and preserve life wherever possible. As larger battles unfolded in space, Nilo issued commands calmly, anticipating enemy reactions. He encouraged creative tactics, allowing smaller ships to flank, distract, and confuse the enemy. When a rogue fleet attempted a direct assault on a human stronghold, they were met with unexpected counterattacks from multiple directions. Ships that seemed weak individually became powerful when coordinated intelligently. The rogue faction began to falter. Their numbers could not compensate for human strategy. Ships were disabled or forced to retreat. Their commanders grew frustrated, unable to predict human maneuvers. The galaxy watched in astonishment as humans, though outnumbered, turned the battle in their favor. After hours of combat, the enemy was forced to withdraw. Key trade routes were secure, planets were safe, and human-led allied forces had gained control of the area. The first major battle against the rogue faction was a victory. But Nilo knew this was only the beginning. The enemy would regroup and return, stronger and more determined. Returning to his flagship, Nilo addressed his crew. "We have faced the first wave and proven that humanity can stand against overwhelming odds. Remember, strength alone is not enough. Courage, intelligence, and teamwork define us. We fight not to conquer, but to protect. And we will continue to do so, no matter the challenge." The crew felt a mixture of relief and determination. They had survived the first test of war, earning respect and trust from allies across the galaxy. Yet the threat remained. Nilo reminded them that future battles would require the same discipline, creativity, and bravery that had carried them through this one. As stars drifted past the viewport of his flagship, Nilo thought about humanity's role in the galaxy. They were no longer mere travelers or outsiders. They were leaders, protectors, and a symbol of courage and intelligence. The rogue faction had underestimated them once. They would not make the same mistake again. The war ahead would be difficult, but humanity had shown what they were capable of. They had acted with honor, defended the innocent, and demonstrated that true strength came from strategy, cooperation, and determination. The galaxy had watched humans rise in the face of danger. And now, as the enemy retreated, it began to understand that humanity's march into war was not reckless, it was inevitable, and it was guided by a purpose greater than any fleet or weapon. The galaxy held its breath. After months of preparation, planning, and smaller skirmishes, the rogue faction launched its final assault. Their fleet was larger than ever, with dozens of massive warships and countless smaller fighters. They aimed to crush humanity and their allies in one decisive strike. Commander Nilo stood on the bridge of his flagship, watching the approaching enemy. He did not show fear. His calm presence inspired his crew, who had trained tirelessly for this moment. "Remember," he said, "we fight not for glory, but to protect the galaxy. Stay focused. Trust your training, trust each other, and act with courage." The human fleet moved into formation. Smaller ships flanked the enemy, while larger vessels held the center. Nilo's strategy relied not on brute force, but on adaptability. Humans had learned to anticipate enemy moves, exploiting their weaknesses and turning their size into a disadvantage. The battle began with a sudden strike from the rogue scouts. They attempted to split the human fleet, hoping to create chaos. But humans were prepared. Mara led a counterattack, using speed and agility to lure the scouts into ambushes. The enemy was surprised by the humans' coordination and intelligence. As the main fleet engaged, humans used creative tactics that alien forces had never encountered. Some ships disguised themselves among asteroids, striking unexpectedly. Others used decoy drones to confuse the enemy's targeting systems. Each move was calculated, each action purposeful. The rogue faction could not predict human strategies. The galaxy watched in awe. Alien civilizations, some who had doubted humans, now followed the battle closely. Messages from distant sectors praised humanity's skill and courage. Humans fought not recklessly, but intelligently, balancing offense and defense while protecting allied ships and nearby planets. On the surface of a key planet, human teams worked to safeguard civilians. Evacuations were organized, defensive shields reinforced, and medical aid distributed efficiently. The humans ensured that no innocent life was lost. Their actions inspired local populations and alien allies alike, showing that true strength included care and responsibility. Hours into the battle, the rogue faction began to falter. Their fleets were scattered, communications disrupted, and morale weakening. Nilo seized the moment. Push forward carefully, he commanded. We do not destroy unnecessarily, but we must stop them from regrouping. Focus on disabling their fleet, not harming civilians or planets. The human strategy worked. Key enemy ships were disabled, forcing the rogue leaders to retreat. Their final assault had failed. The galaxy witnessed a rare event, a smaller, intelligent, and disciplined force overcoming a larger, reckless, and aggressive one. Humans had turned the tide of war through courage, creativity, and leadership. After the battle, Nilo addressed his fleet and allies. Today, we have defended the galaxy not for power or conquest, but for justice, protection, and honor. We have shown that humanity can act with intelligence and fairness, even in the face of overwhelming odds. Remember this lesson as we continue to work together for peace and safety. The rogue faction retreated to distant sectors, weakened and humiliated. Their schemes exposed, they could no longer threaten the galaxy as before. Humans and their allies had restored balance, earning not only victory but trust and respect. Galactic leaders who had once doubted humans now approached cautiously, acknowledging their bravery and wisdom. Some offered alliances, others shared knowledge and resources. The perception of humanity had shifted dramatically. They were no longer outsiders or potential threats, they were leaders and protectors in the galaxy. Nilo stood on the bridge of his flagship, looking at the stars. He thought about humanity's journey, from uncharted sectors to the center of galactic attention. Humans had survived challenges on their home planet, learned from every experience, and adapted to every situation. Now, they had proven themselves among the stars. Mara joined him quietly. The galaxy will remember this, she said. Humans are no longer just newcomers. We have earned respect. Nilo nodded. Respect is earned through action, courage, and fairness. Today we have shown all three. But we must remain vigilant. The galaxy is vast, and new challenges will come. Humanity must be ready to face them with the same intelligence, courage, and honor. The victory was celebrated across human and allied worlds. Civilians and soldiers alike honored those who had fought, not just for survival, but for the protection of life and the stability of the galaxy. The humans' approach to war had shown that strength without fairness was empty, but intelligence, courage, and care could achieve more than mere force. From that day forward, humans were recognized as equals and leaders in the galaxy. Their arrival, once unexpected and shocking, had changed the perception of what a species could achieve. They had marched into war, not for domination, but for justice, protection, and honor. The stars stretched endlessly ahead, filled with challenges yet to come. But humanity had proven one unshakable truth: they were capable of facing the impossible, overcoming any obstacle, and earning the respect of the galaxy. Commander Nilo looked out at the endless horizon and knew that this was only the beginning of humanity's journey among the stars.